Today we're going to talk about Oogie Boogie Bash. What a party we had out there. We're going to be talking about the new statues that are showing up all over Walt Disney World for the 50th. And our panel is going to talk about things that are disappearing and why we think they're leaving, all on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for September 12th, 2021. I'm Rob Whiteside, your host, and we have quite a show for you tonight. A lot of stuff. We're going to be talking around the hub about Disney World, Disneyland. We're going to then have a huge discussion at the end, which will be kind of a game, and we'll want you to play along at home. So if you're joining us live, sorry for being late. If you're not joining us live, hey, where you been? I want to introduce the panel tonight. We've got, I don't know, do we need to talk to these people? Mr. Patrick Hackett.
Hey, everybody.
So excited to have you here, Patrick.
So excited to be here.
And coming to us live from set, Emma.
Donde está maintenance?
Bueno. I don't know. And Stephanie.
Hi, everybody.
We're going to have Allie from Disneyland on with us in a bit. But first, we want to talk about some news. There's been a lot of stuff. I don't know if you guys heard, there's a little party. It's going to be happening around October 1st in Florida. Anybody? No? Nobody heard about it? It's called the 50th anniversary. Look at that. There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, there are only 19 more shopping days till the 50th anniversary. Wow. So you need to buy Mickey's present today if you haven't. There are new banners up at the resorts. There are these, the statues, and we've been talking about the statues for quite a while, have finally started appearing in the parks. This is very exciting, and I think this is definitely the one we want to talk about the most. The Vault collection has been released, and then we have the gold adornments on the lights at Main Street. I'm honestly not sure I would have noticed that had happened, but I'm glad they did it. They've opened up the scrims, and they're letting the train station breathe, even though the trains aren't in there. They put some stuff out here on the main gates. There's a lot of stuff happening. New name tags. Erlene's very excited about her name tag. There's a new commercial, and it's got the new song in it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But oh boy, oh howdy, the 50th anniversary Happy Meal toys have started, and already the reviews are pouring in. Apparently they're supposed to come out this week, but apparently also people already have them in hand. So wow, like that's a lot. Where do we start, Patrick? What are you excited about?
It's crazy. I'm really excited about the statues. I love the iridescent color, and I like it on the base, and of course 50 being the golden anniversary. I just wish it was more scavenger hunty. Like, I like that the Tinkerbell one is a little obscured, and they're in good places, like Gus and Jock being right by Cinderella's royal table. I kind of wish they weren't all out in the. I wish we kind of had work for them, but man, I didn't think they would add as much as they are. They really popped for me.
Yeah. And which one is your favorite?
It's between Tinkerbell and Jock and Gus Gus. Really just the up on the sign.
Wrong answer. It's
that one's really adorable too.
It's Chippendale. Yeah. Stephanie, are you seeing some 50th stuff you're excited about here?
I am. I actually really like the light post. I like that they're zhuzhing up the place and they're putting some gold accents to everything. I like how they're obviously repainting and refurbishing things that need to be done, but they're also adding to, say, the teacups. They painted extra things on the ceiling there. So I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to make everything just kind of shine, and that's what they needed. It's the 50th.
Yeah, I'm sorry for everybody for her saying zhuzhing. We'll cut that out afterwards. Emma.
That's a great word.
That's a good word. I really like the statues. I think the touches are nice. But again, I actually think what would be nice if we had some announcements about entertainment. Like, I think
Amen.
I think the beacons that they're making with the park icons is not enough, in my opinion. Like, to call that your entertainment. Like, the statues are a nice touch and all the decorations look lovely. You know, I'm not complaining about the quality of those at all. I'm just saying, like, to just call decorations and these beacon of magic things that they're doing, to me, is not enough for an anniversary.
Hey, you know what you need to do? Tell Winnie the Pooh to his face that you don't think he's enough. Patrick has a thing that he thinks might be the reason for all of the... yeah. So, yeah. You're playing the cards too early. That's what we're going to be doing later on. So.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, so I'm excited about these statues too. I wasn't excited originally, and then I was excited when they're like, oh, 50 statues, and they're like, no, Rob, 36 statues, 50 characters. Okay, sure, we'll take them. I mean, and they look pretty cool. Put it down, Hackett. Come on. I mean,
Get excited.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, the Happy Meal toys. I mean, literally, I was like, do ParksCenter, go to McDonald's. I'm really not sure which one I want to do. And Emma, what do you guys think Emma is really excited about entertainment coming back? What would be? Is she? Is it because maybe she? Okay, it's fine. So anyway,
oh, Emma went to Sweater Town.
All
Are
right.
they still going to have the big celebration, though, with the 50 characters coming out? Didn't they do a 45 on the 45th anniversary with 45 characters?
Oh, yeah.
One-time show?
Well, there would be 36 characters with 14 on their shoulders.
That's true.
Yeah, that's how it's going to work.
I was so disappointed. My daughter went to McDonald's and we did not get a Happy Meal toy. It was for some movie I've never heard of. What is that all about? Just give me the Happy Meal toy I want.
Oh,
she's not going to eat that.
The Ron Gone Wrong? Is that what it was?
Yeah,
that's
what it was.
That's actually owned by Disney. You know, it's
Oh.
20th Century Fox Animation. So you could have had a Disney toy and you didn't even know it. Yeah, disappointing. So speaking of disappointing, Space 220. You know, a lot of people. What? A lot of people have been expecting this to open, like, I don't know, February 2020. And I keep getting questions about it. People are like, when do you think it's going to open? When do you think the reservations are going to be? And we know it's coming now. We also have concept art of what this. This must be why it was taking so long. It was because they were trying to build this elevator. That looks like that's a pretty tall elevator. That's going to go 220 miles up into the sky. That's a pretty big deal. It takes a long time to build something like that. But I think this is just in story. Is that right, Patrick? This is not really how this is going to work?
I will not believe that restaurant is open until we have multiple dining reports from there. I can't believe it. I mean, all that for an elevator. And is this really going to draw people away from other restaurants in Epcot? Epcot has some of the best in-park dining there is. What are they going to have aside from this elevator and the screens?
Isn't that funny? Most people are like, I don't know what the food is. I don't know what the service is going to be like, but I cannot wait to get my reservation to go there. And again, it's because we've been promised something that is going to be an amazing dining experience. But sometimes when you have better entertainment, Sunny Eclipse, you have less good food, Cosmic Rays. So I'm just saying it doesn't always line up that that's the case. There is an aquarium restaurant in Epcot, which is like that's real life stuff. And you could go and see this huge wall of fish the entire time that you're eating. Maybe Mickey's going to swim in there. You don't know. Anything could happen. But I don't
Uncle
think
Jesse could be in there.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, exactly. So have mercy, Patrick. Have mercy. So I don't think that there's really, like, I think that the gimmick is awesome, but I think if the food is awesome too, this will be the hardest ticket inside of, this will be harder than Rise of the Resistance to get. If the food is good and the environment is all that we've been hoped for, it'll be really great. And so I want to go to Emma and ask you this question. You ready? Why did they build this elevator in the middle of Disney World? Shouldn't they have built that, like, at Houston or somewhere else? I mean, why is it coming out of? It's very confusing to me.
I mean, your guess is as good as mine. But you know, I'm coming down in October, so I'm looking forward to this restaurant. I keep checking every single day to see when reservations are going to be open.
You're part of the problem.
So I am excited for it. Huh?
You're part of the problem.
I know I am part of the problem, and I'm 100% admitting that. But anyway. You know, I think that's just something that we want to do as a family. Like, we like going and trying new things, even if it's only a one and done for us. But I think the atmosphere is going to be really cool, and I'm hoping the food is good. Exactly, you're right. Like, there are so many Epcot restaurants that are great, that have great food. So I feel like this restaurant has to stand up to that at least and match that.
Yeah, for sure. Stephanie?
So if M is part of the problem, I'm 2 times worse because I called Disney Dining about this week. So
I called them 5 minutes ago, and
yes. No, they told me that it's supposed to open on the 20th. They have no information apart from that, and it's probably going to be a walk-up. So there's going to be lines out the wazoo trying to get reservation or walk-up reservation for this during that first opening phase. Hopefully there's going to be a good menu there. We don't have the menu yet, but maybe there might be some dehydrated ice cream or something. That would be.
Oh man, that's the best. I love dehydrated ice cream.
The elevator comes out of Florida, and the line out the wazoo. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm very excited. I mean, like, I'm not saying I'm not excited about it. I am. I just think it's very funny that everybody's like, I can't wait to eat there. I can't wait to eat there. What are they going to serve? I don't know, but I can't wait to eat there.
Well,
right?
They are currently hiring a pastry line cook and a line cook, so I don't think they know what's going to be eaten there.
You know I like my pastries, Patrick. Okay.
I'm just hoping there's some good drinks at the space bar.
Well, do we know if there's going to be a breakfast here, too? I would assume so. But, I mean, also the park, does it still open at 11? Maybe it's too late for breakfast. I don't know. We could go to
some days, I think,
yeah.
50th. Yeah.
You could go to the McDonald's across. Oh, no, you can't do that either.
Too soon.
I know.
Too soon.
I know. Moving on. Now boarding. So we've got, I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but Rise of the Resistance can be a little tricky to get a reservation for. It is huge amounts of stress. I mean, I personally, like, freak out because it's like, first of all, I hate mornings, so 6:55 comes around. I actually set my alarm for 6:45. My son was like, you're wasting 10 minutes of sleep. And I'm like, I can't not be ready. So they've changed this process a little bit where you can go in ahead of time and get your ducks in a row so that when it comes time, and here's what I don't understand, and I'm going to throw this to Stephanie first. Why didn't they do this from the beginning? This seems like it should have been the way to do that, because you could never preview what the experience is going to be. And the very first time you did it, like I was watching YouTube videos and asking people, like random people on the streets, how does this work? So, I mean, for the very first time. But why didn't they do this earlier?
Great question, because Disney and apps. I don't know. I guess that's the answer. But I was never able to get, I have yet to get a boarding group on the app. I was able to get onto the ride when we had to show up at 4:35 a.m. to get into the park, wait 2 hours to get into the park at 7 and get that boarding group. So now we always have 6 people at least. We're going to have 9 people when we go there in 2 weeks. So hopefully I'm going to be able to get a boarding group for our party of 9, but we shall see.
Yeah, Patrick, you haven't, no, Patrick, put the sign down, oh, okay, all right, that's fine, okay, but, so, Patrick, you're going to go down there in a bit, and you haven't ridden this monster yet, are you freaking?
And it's my birthday. That's the first time I'm setting foot in Hollywood Studios is for my 40th birthday, and I don't know what to do if I don't get a boarding group. And to think that there's not a way for me to guarantee to get on this ride some way, shape, or form is really, really upsetting to me. Really upsetting. I get it. You know, standby is not great, but there needs to be a better way. Maybe it's Genie Plus. I highly doubt it. Maybe Lightning Lane. I guess I could pay $15-20, but it's so upsetting that this is a marquee attraction and we're dealing with stress trying to get on it.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is stress. It really is. And I just look at it and think the one person who has scheduled their trip is going to come there, only has one park reservation for Hollywood Studios. Like, I will book as many as I can for Hollywood Studios with knowing that I can change them or park hop away if I need to, but just to make sure I have enough opportunities to do it. So, yeah, it is super stressful, especially the first time you do it. But I'm sure if you walk up to the gates, Patrick, and say, oh, it's my birthday, they'll let you right in, dude. Emma?
Yeah, honestly, this makes a lot more sense, and it actually is a time saver so that way you can click right at 7 o'clock. You know that you are at least, well, I mean, if it doesn't crash on you, because I've had the app crash on me the last couple times I was there and try to get a boarding group, and of course they don't do any compensation for that anymore, so that was fun to deal with. But anyway, at least it's like one less step you have to do at 7 a.m. I don't know how much it's going to help because we all know how Disney IT works sometimes. I I just feel bad because I feel like this process has changed so many times for people. And again, this is not something that a travel agent can necessarily help you with when you're in the park. They can tell you about it ahead of time, but they can't help you when you're in the park. So after you might have done all this research and then for them to change it again, like that is just way, way stressful. This whole thing is more stressful than it needs to be. We need standby.
Okay. Well, stand by for that. The next thing we're going to talk about here is the is Spaceship Earth, the centerpiece, the crown jewel. Why are you laughing? Don't start laughing at Epcot. Epcot, the experimental prototype community of tomorrow. You know what? They're doing some really cool things out there with the lights on this new beacon, right? So we've got video on the website of the geodesic sphere changing colors, which, you know, that's cool. There's this new jacket that's kind of killer. I'm into that for sure. They took the camera off the top. I don't know why that was breaking news. And then also, speaking of breaking, they're taking animatronics out. Like they're going in and they're grand fiestaing the heck out of this thing, where this guy looks like he's talking to a horse now because there used to be a dude there, and he's just like, oh, hey, pretend horse, what do you think about this? And then there's some stuff in the caves. They pulled some animatronics out there, and then this radio guy, nobody cares about radio anymore, Patrick, do they? This radio guy is broken with his arm hanging up like this. It's kind of sad. And then this family, I didn't even think they moved at all, but apparently mom moved a little bit, and now she's just sad. And then, like, when you get into the science lab, ironic that in the science lab, the science of animatronics has failed them. There's so many yes, there we go. Here we go. Hold it up. Hold it. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so yeah, it's been kind of a train wreck. So Emma, I'll let you go first on this one since you were sharing the Carousel of Products shirt. You get to go first.
I can't with maintenance anymore. Like, it's bad that I'm laughing about this, but like, for just, again, the ride that is inside of your park icon that you should be taking care of, because these are, you know, really old and treasured at this point animatronics that need to work in order for the story of the ride to actually work. I am so over Disney maintenance being what it is at this point, and it just aggravates me so much with how expensive, like, that, again, all these things are happening and the ticket prices still haven't dropped and things are getting more expensive. We have more upcharges now. I'm just...
Ooh.
I can't.
Calm down, Slugger. Stephanie, say something nice.
I actually am very excited about this new merch line, surprisingly so, but I think it looks really good, and I'm excited to see it in person. I do think, and for those of you who are former cast members, ride cast members, do you ever have a chance of riding the rides? I feel like it would be easy if they would say, okay, cast member that's opening the park, and you go on the first ride, and you kind of jot down some notes about what you see is broken, and then you ride it again at the close, and you jot down some more notes to see what is broken, and then you can turn that in every day as a maintenance report. Do they do that? I don't know, but they should.
Well, let me tell you this though. As a former cast member, I used to work on the original. Don't look up the dates. The original Figment attraction. I worked that one. I wore the. I'm sorry, Patrick. Our time is up. We can't come to you now. So I wore the purple outfit with the purple vest and the smart short mock turtleneck. It was very beautiful. But there was actually a position in rotation at the end of the night for someone to ride through the attraction. So what you're talking about actually existed at the end of the night, so that there could be a maintenance report to be able to say to the overnight team, here's what needs to be fixed. You were supposed to ride through, make sure there's nothing weird looking, no trash, nothing broken, everything's working. And so it was a great position to have, because while everyone else was cleaning up and locking down, you spent like 12 to 15 minutes just riding around, and it was really cool. So it was a position at one time. So don't do it, Patrick. You're looking to hold up a sign, aren't you? I'm
not. I'm good.
Don't you do it? Okay, all right. I'm gonna give you some time though.
All right. So my thing with these points of beacons of magic, wasn't Spaceship Earth able to pretty much illuminate as it is now? Is it just like brighter? I mean, we saw it turn into Mike Wazowski at one point in time. I don't think that we needed to really mess with the integrity of it and put these little things that look like bobbers that when you're night fishing go on your line. I just don't get it. And when you started going on about it being the crown jewel, I mean, Emma said it, it's the front and center of the park. Why are you just pulling animatronics out of there? Like I guess he can talk to a horse. It happens at Disney Magic, so the horse is now part of the show.
You gonna be okay, buddy?
No, I'm all right. I'm fine.
Okay, cool.
Whole end of the ride is just triangles anyway, so.
Well, you know what? Let's talk about my DVC home, the Polynesian. Patrick, where are you again? Never mind.
I'm Grand Floridian.
So, ouch. So they've refurbished the monorail station, and it looks pretty cool. But it was one of these things like, I feel like they've had plenty of time to do this stuff, so that's been a thing that's been taking way too long. I do like the final outcome of it, though. I do think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
The way that it's done, and then the entranceway, they've finally have opened up the entrance again too. So it's been really weird being there because I've gone and stayed there. I think once, and then we went once when Ohana opened just to see it. Boarded up. I mean, again, talk about Crown Jewel. This is one of the 3 originals, and they've been working on it. And I feel like it should have been done earlier, but now I think it looks pretty amazing. Any of you guys ever stayed there?
Yeah, actually,
right.
I stayed there back in. Stephanie, if you want to go first, you can go first.
We'll go to you already.
You're on there.
We'll come to Stephanie next.
I actually stayed there right when they started the refurb. I think. A year ago, basically in October, because we were there for Halloween. It was kind of weird not being able to go into the great ceremonial house like you normally can, and that the check-in desk was shoved to another building. I mean, I still love the location of the resort, and I was just thankful that they hadn't shut down the monorail station yet, but I think it looks really good, and it's good to have that monorail station back because, again, it's not like prices dropped during that time to stay there. So now the guests actually have a monorail resort available to them once again. So I'm excited for it to be finished, and I love what they've done with it so far.
Am I wrong in the fact that I feel like, I don't know if it was Polly, there was somewhere they used to give you a gift card because you were putting up with the construction? Was that Polly, or was that like Coronado?
It was anywhere.
I think, Coronado, they were doing that when
they built the tower.
But a couple places they were doing that, and they do that frequently with people who are staying in deluxe when amenities like that are down. I think you just gotta raise the stink in the right way,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Polite but persistent.
Stephanie.
I think they did it at Pop as well. But anyway, I have stayed at Polly, I think 3, maybe 4 times. One time in a bungalow. That was pretty amazing. But if you've ever been to Hawaii, it feels like Hawaii. That's what is amazing about this hotel. And you walk in and you're transported. And it's one of the, like you said, one of the originals. It has wonderful dining. I'm glad it's open. It needed to be for the 50th.
Yeah. Patrick?
It's really gorgeous. And when we see something like this, it's just like, why isn't stuff like this happening everywhere? Magic Kingdom is starting to look great, and the gold, the accoutrements and all that is a great addition, but everything should be getting freshened up. This 18 months, this should be a celebration and a reinvigoration of the parks. I think it looks phenomenal. It looks like so much more natural light gets in. I love the Polynesian. I've yet to stay there, but it is just my favorite place to go and hang out. It has, I guess, a Hawaii vibe. I've never been there, but it's a chill vibe, and it looks great. It's awesome. More of this.
Yes.
Yep, for sure.
Many of the hotel.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Many of the hotels in Hawaii have the water feature whenever you walk in, and call me old school, I guess, but I really miss the waterfall in the middle of like where Maui statue is now. It had a waterfall originally, and I wish they had brought that back.
Yeah, when they had the original centerpiece in there, it took up almost the entire lobby, and it was kind of it took your breath away when you walked in because there were birds and there were plants and waterfalls and the whole deal, and it was amazing. And not that the new one doesn't look clean and nice, but it almost is like everything else that they've done, where they kind of like, they just
Tom talks about that a lot.
Yeah, it's too
in the room reviews. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too bland.
It's all very bland. It's very clean, which is that's good. That's a good thing. But also, it just doesn't feel the same. It's not that same in your face Disney, like I'm in a different place kind of vibe. It almost looks like you're just in another hotel. But the fun thing is that I have a friend in Hawaii. He has told me that Aulani in Hawaii. He said the same thing about that Aulani that you did about the Poly, is that it feels like what Hawaii really is supposed to be. Like, even from somebody who lives in Hawaii, he's like, no, Aulani's what everyone thinks Hawaii really is. And so...
Right.
Joe Rohde.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. No, my friend is not Joe Rohde. Is that what you thought? No, that's not. So going from things that are opening to going to things that are closing, Expedition Everest is going to be shut down for 3 months in 2022. We're having the world's biggest celebration for 18 months, and Expedition Everest is not going to be at the party the whole time. That's kind of a bummer. And then Kali, here's the thing that I'm confused about on Kali, and Patrick, I'm going to throw this to you first to just fix all this for me. Kali is going down on November 1st, so we're going to keep it open for a month after the park's big birthday, and then we're going to close it for an indeterminate amount of time. But it was already down from January to March. Are there also broken animatronics there we don't know about?
Well, and plus think about the fact that it was closed the entirety of when the resort was closed for the pandemic. Right. I think they really missed the boat about doing hardcore maintenance when the parks were closed, when we were really in the throes of the beginning of this mess. Closing water rides in the winter for whatever winter Orlando gets is normal, and it makes sense, but it was just down. Fix it then. Keep it down for an extended time. Nobody in the world is like, you know what I need to do for Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary? Kali River Rapids. I need to be on that ride. I mean, it's a fun attraction, but you do. That's you. You stand for that? Yeah. Is that what kids say? Am I okay to say that? I don't even know.
Sure.
All right, cool. BTS, is that a thing? Oh, go somebody else.
It's fine. We're all fine. We're moving on. We go on, as they say. So everybody's super excited. Speaking of clean lines and everything, everybody's super excited about the Creation Shop. Everyone can't wait for this. But you know what? They keep showing little things as they go through, and these Mickey Mouse statues actually look, I think we use that term actually. They actually look pretty good. Like, we're surprised when something looks pretty cool. So I think this is a neat thing. I'm just worried about how, this is, by the way, the closing of the current Mouse Gear. So the term Mouse Gear closes with this place. So they've taken down all the decorations because clearly that's something they had to do ahead of time. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. That's bad show. That's just bad show. This logo looks really good.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I think Tyler really did a good job on that one. That's the way that one looks. But again, it goes back to the whole, it's very super clean, what they're pulling off. But then they're going to have this featured merchandise that Stephanie talked about before. So I don't know. I just, it feels too, what's the word we're looking for? We haven't actually hit on the word yet. It's
bland?
Bland is good. Clean.
It's not Disney. It's any Resort USA. What was that, Stephanie?
Sterile.
Okay, we'll go.
Basic, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I really like some of the stuff that's going on. I'm glad that we're not just looking at floors now, because they saw we like floors once, and they're like, here's all the floors. But something inside really needs to be done to make this shop pop. There was a lot about Mouse Gears that was very outdated, but it was, as we say time and time again, distinctively and authentically Disney.
Yeah. Stephanie?
I love how Mouse Gears always had the hidden Mickeys. It was always something fun that kids could do. It's go into the shops or walking down Main Street and trying to find the hidden Mickeys. They make anything that's 3 circles into a hidden Mickey. But still, I think that if they bring some of that in, if they do some great murals or something, it's supposed to be creations. It's supposed to be very colorful and creative, and we've just been seeing a lot of white. So it remains to be seen. But yes, I think it's kind of sterile looking.
Okay, Emma.
Yeah, it's too basic. I mean, we've already seen this happening with just merchandise shops in general, just kind of being homogenized across the board. I think the font looks really cool because, again, it's going to that old OG Epcot style, if you will, which I really like. I think it's really cool. And I like that the merch is matching that as well. But again, like, there's that charm and that nice, again, that, just that Epcot feel to Mouse Gear, and I wish that the creation shop still had that. And honestly, those statues, I like them, but it just kind of reminded me of, like, oh, we kind of plus Vinylmation a little bit, and we made them bigger and put them in the store.
Again, I don't look up the dates, but the Centurium that used to be there was 2 stories and was kind of amazing. So I hear from older people. It was really, a cool thing. But
Jason told you.
Yeah. Papa Diffendahl told me all about it. We're out of time. But the other thing was that then they came in with Mouse Gear, and it was phenomenally themed. The shadows up above and the Dreamfinder's ship was in there, and it was so well done and so well themed, and it reminded me of the old Disney stores that you would just go in and you would just be in awe of the store before you even got to any of the merchandise. And so, maybe they're saying the merchandise is the star now, and if that's the case, have you seen the 2021 line? Because but there's so many like really cool things that Disney does, and all of these things, and I think homogenized might be the one, because it just feels very bland and toned down, and I don't know why. Because as a little kid, when you go in, you don't go, oh, nice use of space. Well, the feng shui here is fantastic. You don't do that. You go in and go, Mickey, Goofy, this is great. Like, I want to see all that stuff. And I think that's the problem when Epcot first launched. They said, hey, Epcot doesn't have any characters in it. By design, we don't want characters. And the Imagineers kind of fought that, and that's where Hidden Mickeys came from, as they started hiding Mickey in these different places. And they went, you know what? It doesn't kind of work. We need to bring the characters in. And so once they did, it had more of an energy to it, and now that they're going back to this, like Stephanie's sterile, that environment, it's very disappointing. So,
yeah.
Anyway, I appreciate you guys weighing in on all this stuff. We're going to come back and we're going to play a game with this crew in a little while. So when we do, nope, Patrick, down. But when we come back, we're going to be talking to Allie about some of the stuff that we did at the Oogie Boogie Bash, and some other things are happening in Disneyland as we continue around the hub, so don't go away.
WDWNT presents Timekeeping. a year-by-year journey through the history of the vacation kingdom of the world. Join us for the premiere Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, or watch on demand anytime on the WDW News Today YouTube channel.
It's always nice to hear the buttery tones of Tom Corliss, isn't it, in a commercial? It's always good. Thank you. Welcome back to ParksCenter. I'm Rob Whiteside, your host. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe. If you are watching this and you enjoy what you're seeing, please give us a thumbs up. Later on in the show, we're definitely going to want you guys to participate with us in our chat as we have our Pressing Issues segment this week talking about the things that have disappeared from Disney. But in the meantime, we're going to go to the other coast to talk to our good friend, Allie. Allie, how's it going over there?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. You know, Allie, it's been literally hours since I've seen you in person. Hours.
Right?
Yeah. So we got to do Oogie Boogie Bash, and it was really funny. I was going through the trail, Villainous Grove, Villains Grove. Which, by the way, when I first saw in 2019 the videos and things we had for Disneyland and Oogie Boogie Bash, and I saw Villains Grove, I was like, that I want to go to. I've never seen anything like it. I want to go to that. I'm walking through. I turn around and Allie's got her camera and she's like, you know, recording the whole thing so that all of you can go to wdwnt.com or disneylandnewstoday.com and find this great coverage that we've had of it. But I'm just going to ask you first, is this the first time you had been to Oogie Boogie Bash?
Yep, this was my very first Oogie Boogie Bash. I'm super thankful to Tom cover the opening night, and same thing, like when I saw the Villains Grove 2 years ago, I was like, wow, I should have bought a ticket because that looks amazing. And that was the thing I was definitely most excited for on Thursday, and that was amazing.
So we have done a review of Boo Bash on the East Coast, and it wasn't well received. Kevin Lake came on to talk a little bit about that, and he was just like, which I used to love Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Now, had you been to a Halloween party at Disneyland when it was over at Disneyland Park?
I have not, but I have done Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party at Disney World.
Okay. So you've been to the same one. You've been to, yeah.
Yes.
And so I have an opinion on this, but I want to hear your opinion. How do you think that this party compares to what you saw at Mickey's Not So Scary?
Personally, I thought Oogie Boogie Bash was way more fun. And it's not that we didn't like Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Like, we had a good time there, but we spent a lot more time on rides. And I think just because Magic Kingdom's so much bigger, you're spending a lot more time walking and waiting in line, where DCA is a lot smaller. It felt a lot more intimate. And even though I was like running around with a list of things to do, like I still felt like I was able to do everything. But then I liked that they were kind of rotating characters through. So it was like I felt like I did everything, but I didn't do everything. And like I want to go back. So like for that, I like it because there were some characters that other people saw. I was like, oh, like I missed the Robin Hood characters. And that's one of my favorite movies. So it's like, oh no, next year now I got to go and I got to wait and I got to find them. But, you know, you got to see Captain Hook and Smee and some other characters that you never get to see, and that was amazing.
Yeah, Disney World did a promotion like that. It was like Long Lost Friends, where they brought out all these characters you hadn't seen in forever. But, yeah, it was pretty cool. They had this red carpet set up where you could meet all of these villains, and they rotated them through. So it was Captain Hook, Governor Ratcliffe, Smee, Prince John, and the Sheriff of Nottingham, which was like, what? Where's this coming from? And Jafar, the ones I saw. Did you see any others other than that?
When I went through, it was Smee and Captain Hook. Yeah, I'm bummed I missed all the Robin Hood ones. And then
Well, you
even
have
like
to
when
go
I
back.
went through the Pixar was different characters too. So it was Jessie when I went through, which she's always there, but you know, still cool to see her just standing there and waving.
This was such, I mean, and it's a small park, you know, comparatively to some of the others, but this was maybe the coolest party that I've ever been to And you know, I was I was called out because I actually got on a ride, and I think you were like, "Why would you ride rides like when you come here?" And it's because the lines were actually pretty short for the rides because there were so many people doing all of these experiences, but the experiences were amazing. But I want to take it like a little bit by bit, and something that we obviously were just talking about is the characters. And man, these three that they debuted this year.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is like, so we have the movie Cruella, the Agatha from WandaVision, and Sid. And I was like, Agatha was awesome. She was in Avengers Campus, and she was where they normally shoot where they usually run the Doctor Strange show. But she was fantastic. But I was like, Sid, that sounds ridiculous. Sid was actually kind of one of my favorites. And then, yeah, Cruella, oh my gosh. Yeah.
I think Cruella might have been my favorite though, because she was interacting with all of the guests that walked through, and I kind of like stopped. And if you watch the video, you can hear kind of, it might be in the Instagram video, but like she was talking to a kid and she looked at me and she's like, "You need to keep moving." And I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Well,
I was like, "I love this."
they had a red carpet area at the front of it, and I was not invited to work the red carpet part of it. I don't know if that was just for kids or what, but I didn't get to go on the red carpet, but I walked beside it. And one of the things, again, that's different, and you said you've been to Mickey's Not So Scary, is the fact that there you go through a treat trail, and it's like you get one, I don't know what you call them, like the cart of candy is usually there, and you get one at one cart. This one, it's like a trail of like 6 carts, and there's a character in it. I mean, that's an amazing, that's worth the money right there, I feel like.
Exactly. Yeah, and at the end of each treat trail, I like that you kind of didn't really know who was there unless you asked. So it was kind of like a fun surprise at the end. Like the Mad Hatter, I thought he was great. And then Oogie Boogie was also super fun too. Like we walked in and one was leaving, and so we waited like 30 seconds and another one came out immediately. And it was cool to have him in there. Just kind of taunting everybody.
And the Sid one, it was weird. It was a weird concept. Like if you told me what the concept was, you're going to have Sid from Toy Story, and he's going to be running a little circus, I would be like, pass. I don't want any part of that. But his interaction with the crowd, and like his shoes were oversized, so he looked more like a kid, and I think he had braces on, and he was he would giving everybody flack and talking about his little sister, and oh my gosh, he was so good. But I didn't know that the characters are going to be in, like you mentioned, in the tree trails until the very first one I did, which was the one over by Soarin', and I came down the lane there, and like there's Maleficent right there, and I was like, I don't have my camera, I'm not ready for this, like I didn't know this was going to be a thing, and she was right there, and she was like joking with some woman. She said, "Oh, you're a blonde. I have a history with blondes." And I mean, it's just like their characters are fun.
Yeah.
Villains are more fun. These were the most fun, I feel like.
All of the actors were phenomenal.
And I don't think it mattered that they were socially distanced, and from what I'm understanding is they were that way in 2019 because they wanted to keep the lines moving for people. And that's one of the things, again, with Mickey's Not So Scary that I've heard people complain about in the recent past, is that the event has gotten to the point where if you want to meet Jack Skellington and get your picture with Jack Skellington, that could be your whole night. And for a hard-ticketed event, these are not free events. For the hard-ticketed event, that's really going to cut into your night pretty badly. But the characters,
I liked, the lines kept moving, and even if for some of them, even if you didn't want the candy, like there was a point where I was like, I have enough candy, like I don't need more candy. So you can kind of just keep walking to get, to the front, hang out with the characters for a little bit, and then just keep moving. So I love that because you could go hit up all the characters and it did not suck up your entire evening. So you had enough time to do the other stuff. So they did a really, really good job with that.
What does it mean to have enough candy? I don't think there's such a thing. Well, here's the other thing too that was kind of cool at first, was that they do things other than candy. Like they would do little individual like Sam's Club bags full of like pirate's booty and cranberries and
got some, and apples.
apple slices, which is really weird when you've got like Skittles and Mars products in your bag and somebody drops a slightly chilled water condensed thing of grapes down in your bag and you're like, And actually the Sid character was kind of joking about that too, going, "You got grapes? Why would you get grapes?" I mean, like right in front of the people who are handing them out. And I'm just thinking, that's really weird. But I actually did enjoy the grapes and the apples. You know, they were very refreshing, but they're not going to last. And if I had left them in the bag, that would have been weird. The one that got me was carrots, though. Like, I'm like,
Yeah, carrots.
Yeah. So cold items was a little weird to have, but like the little graham cracker cookies and things like that, it was nice that there was options for other people who just don't want candy. And, you know, maybe you're going and you're trying to get your money's worth out of the candy, which I admit I've done in the past with Halloween parties. And then, or maybe you're going to get candy because you don't want to have to pay the $3 for a bag at Target to give away later. I don't know. But I mean, it's not really, it's kind of like most things in life, right? It's not the having, it's the getting. Like, fill my bag.
It's like Disney's giving you something, and there's really something satisfying about that.
Yeah, I would say so. Speaking of things that they were giving us, I don't think we knew that Web Slingers was going to be open for this event at first, right?
No, they did announce that. And then, because immediately right at 6, that's where I was stationed, they started telling everybody, if you have a wristband, you can just get in the line. They're telling them to just ignore the thing that said virtual queue, which I thought was really cool. Because I went through there to grab some food at Pim's at like 5:15, 5:30, and that line had already kind of cleared out. So they were setting up for that, for everyone to just be able to pile in right at 6.
Well, I mean, that was pretty amazing to me too, because, you know, that's one of the marquee attractions, and I think that's a huge selling point for it, is that if you didn't want to have to get a virtual queue and get up the same way we do with Rise on both coasts, that you could actually have this hard ticket and go in and ride it a couple times, because it is very re-rideable.
Yeah, and you could have gotten off quickly and not messed up your evening.
Yeah. So that was fun, and they had photo spots was the other thing. They had photo spots set up in all these different places, and again, with your ticket for the night, it's included that you get photo pass. But they had a special one set up that you walked through for Magic Key holders, right?
Yeah, that was. I thought they were actually going to have the Sanderson sisters in there, so I was really excited. And then so I waited in line for like maybe 10 minutes, and it was just this picture. Yeah, there I am. I mean, it's a fun picture, but I probably would not have waited longer than what I waited for. So it was a little anticlimactic. Like, I appreciate them doing something for the Magic Key holders, but I think they probably could have done something a little bit more.
No, I agree. Honestly, anytime I see a sign that's like, annual pass holder, Magic Key this way, I want to go, is there a magnet? I like magnets. Give me a magnet. You know, I don't know why, but that's,
Yeah.
So the other thing is there's specialty food. Is there specialty food only that's event only? Because I know they do a lot for Halloween time.
Yeah, there were 3 things at Flo's. It was like poutine, fries with gravy, and cheese curds. There were chili cheese fries, and then there was this like buffalo chicken tender fry situation. And those 3 were only for the party.
So I think I have them here. These?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and these were only for the party at Flo's.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, they look good. And I assume you tried all these. I mean, that's why you get paid the big bucks.
Yeah. Yeah. The buffalo chicken ones, if you like spicy buffalo things with blue cheese, those are a great choice. The chicken tenders at Flo's are always pretty good. We like the chili cheese fries. The poutine one with the gravy was a little flat for us. The gravy was kind of cold and had no flavor. And the cheese curds were also cold, so it was just kind of felt like everything was thrown together. So that was our least favorite of the 3. But it was cool to have some different options. And most of the Halloween food we had was actually all pretty good this year. Definitely my favorite year of all of the time I've done all the Halloween food.
Cool.
So really, really good options this year.
So I want to talk about Halloween time, but I want to finish this up, and I'm sorry for going long on this because it was just an amazing event, and I think that what kept flooring me was how how much more is going on here than than the one that I've been at Disney World, and that kind of made me sad because there was a view of the possible. These are the things they could be doing at those other parties, because they had, not only did they have, like, you talked about the specialty food, they had the trick or treating with the trails that was like multiple options as you go through each one, the characters on the trails, the characters not on the trails, and then on top of that you had these photo spots that were available, and then you had a parade, which we haven't really seen a parade in a while. I mean, it's like, excuse me, you mean a cavalcade? No, a full parade.
Full parade. And we rolled in, like, because we came straight from Flo's and rolled in about 15 minutes before the parade started. And it was cool because, like, people weren't fighting over spots. Everybody just made room, and we all got to just stand there, sit there, and enjoy this parade that we haven't had for a really long time.
Yeah, it was really neat to see, especially because Boo to You was one of my favorite parades. I really love that one, and the fact that for the little Halloween song they play during this one is a bop for sure. Like I'm do what?
It said it's still stuck in my head.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fun song, but I love Nightmare Before Christmas, and there's so much of it in this. And then there's like they just brought it all together, the Haunted Mansion, and then you see the guys, the grave diggers with the shovels. I mean, all of it was really neat, and in a small space too. And everybody had a good spot to see it, pretty much.
Yeah, they did a really good job.
So would you recommend this party, Ellie? I feel like I would.
I feel like for $124, I would absolutely recommend this party.
Yeah,
I would I'd pay more, but I wouldn't be mad if I had paid more.
Yeah, it's a little more on the weekends, I believe, isn't it? And probably as you get closer to.
Yeah, it might be, but yeah, whatever they're charging, it is worth it. You can come in at 3 o'clock, so you do get extra time in the park to do rides for 3 hours. And I don't know what it was like Saturday, because we went to Disneyland yesterday. It was packed over there. But Thursday, there was like a time from like 4 to 5-ish where the park was just kind of empty in there. Yeah. And all of the ride lines I thought were really short. So you get your money's worth.
Well, and the other thing that strikes me is that when you're and we'll move off of this one because also Oogie Boogie tickets are sold out, but there may be opportunity, like if you're out there at the time, you can ask and see if there are maybe some more available for the day. But the other thing that strikes me is there's so much more Halloween outside of the party than, and most of that happens at Disneyland because you have Haunted Mansion Holiday, which is one of my all-time favorite attractions. The overlay is great. And then Monsters After Dark I had never done before. I assume you've done that.
I have. I haven't done it this year yet, but I've done it before. And yeah, it's a fun twist on the ride.
And so weird to do on a brand new attraction, really, because Guardians Mission Breakout is really a brand new attraction. And this is something they had set up for Oogie Boogie or Halloween time in 2019. And it's really cool is they take, like, I guess, 45 minutes to an hour to reset the inside of the building from the morning where it's actually regular Mission Breakout, and then they take this time in between to make it a different story. It's like the lights are all going wacky, and the video is off, and it's red and dark, and they even change their costumes. I mean, just the attention to detail, and it's not something that only happens during the party. That's the cool, crazy thing to me is anybody can do it.
Yeah, if you go, I think it's after 3 o'clock. You can, so you can go in the morning and ride one ride, and go a few hours later and ride a totally different ride.
That to me is absolutely amazing, and with a ride that is already, or an attraction that is already, very re-rideable because of the different songs and the different drop cycles. So I mean, that's cool to me. Also, I saw this at Downtown Disney. They're doing this scavenger hunt for the pumpkins, and I think you probably took these shots.
Yep, that was me before I went into Oogie Boogie. That was super cute and fun. Would definitely recommend that. You get a actually pretty cute cup, some cup options to choose from. So for $10, like, you get to walk around, and a few of them are actually kind of hard to find. So definitely fun to do if you have kids or if you're an adult, and you don't have to buy a ticket to go into the park.
That's the thing too.
offer.
Yeah, so you don't have to go to the Oogie Boogie to be able to enjoy Halloween time at Disneyland. There are the overlays of Haunted Mansion and of Guardians Tower, and then you've got this thing you can do without even going into the park. So I feel like they super embrace it there, and the vibe is just super cool too. Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I said it's just all of it's super fun. Even downtown Disney, Disneyland, and even some of the restaurants in downtown Disney are doing Halloween food, and you can go into the Grand Californian and get all those treats and snacks, and you don't have to go into the parks.
Well, and let me ask you about one more thing, which is kind of Halloween and it's kind of not, is the Magic Key Lounge at the Starcade. I didn't get to go in that.
I go in that. Charlie covered that, actually.
Okay. Well, let's look at this together then, because boy howdy, again, since I'm such a huge fan of the Nightmare stuff, they've got, this is actually this part at the top right here. They've got this here where you can go in and see kind of like the history of the 20 years of the Haunted Mansion holiday inside the Starcade. So, and it's only open from 12 to 6, which I think is kind of weird too.
And you have to put your name on a list, and then they text you 4 hours later that you can come back. Or at least that was our experience with it, but...
So the final thing about the Halloween that I wanted to talk about are the fireworks. Have you seen the fireworks in person for the Halloween, the nighttime spectacular?
Not this year, but I've seen them previous years.
It was so good.
They're so good.
There are good things about Mickey's Not So Scary. I don't mean to say that, but the Sanderson Sisters show that they do is always amazing in Florida. But these fireworks were pretty awesome. The way that they did it, and Zero's flying over top of the castle, and yeah, it's really well done. And it was all really well done, and it felt very much like just a really cool vibe to be there and to be there at Halloween, and it makes it very special. So if you guys are out in California and you get a chance to go, you definitely should check it out because it's pretty cool. One other thing I wanted to bring up, and then we'll let you go, is that the Christmas tickets have been announced. How are you feeling about the Christmas tickets? Because I feel like this event is so much more limited than even the Oogie Boogie Bash, which sold out instantly, right?
Yeah, I think I want more information. The ticket price is pretty expensive, but based on the conversation we had yesterday with Tom, if it's going to be as exclusive as he thinks it's going to be, then I think it will be worth the money to just be in there with that few of people and have these different experiences that you can go to in that park. So I think it could be really, really, really good, or it might not be. But it seems like for only, 5 parties that they're having, maybe it's more of a test run this year, and then next year they'll fully roll it out. But
yeah, I guess so. I mean, it feels like we've already tested hard-ticketed events, though. I mean, again, clearly from Oogie Boogie, we know that works. And even the Boo Bash, which we didn't give a great review to for value in Orlando, is again something that there is something for someone. The fact that if you're going there and you don't want to have to wait in lines and you don't have you can't do Fast Pass or Lightning Lane yet, it's a way for you to get in at a limited capacity and ride a bunch of attractions. And so there are things at Boo Bash that are cool to do in Florida, but even that one sold out very quickly.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's weird to have a limited amount of these and to worry whether they're going to sell it, unless the test is how much are people willing to pay, because like you said, it is a high dollar.
It is high dollar amount, and I don't know. Like I said, I want more information.
Okay. Well, once we get more information, we'll get you back on to talk a little bit more about it. And Allie, thank you so much for spending some time with us talking about Disneyland. It's the happiest place on earth. Like, why wouldn't you want to talk about it? Awesome. Yes, please do. Thank you guys so much. Again, we'll be right back and we'll have our panel discussion. We're going to be talking about what things are missing from Disney parks and why. Stick with us.
Welcome to Unplanned Downtime, the YouTube channel for all your favorites, including Cosmic Read Live, discussions at Imagineering attractions, Deep in the Plus, reviewing the catalog on Disney+. Ink and Paint, celebrating female voices in the Disney fandom. WDW News Tonight, a late-night comedy show with sketches and characters. Boxed In, opening mystery packages and viewer mail. Picky Eaters, trying to eat our way across Disney restaurants. WDW&T The RPG, a tabletop adventure set in Tokyo Disney Sea. And more of your favorites. Subscribe now at unplannedDowntime.com. Remember, it's not an accident, it's unplanned downtime.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside and a panel of Disney superfans as they take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog, tell you its history, details, give their review, and let you know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes. Or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube at unplannedDowntime.com.
I am not going to make it for the Golden Jamboree. The Golden Jamboree is, of course, celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort. It's one of the events that we're putting on, and there are also digital tickets available for that. So make sure you're checking that out. It's on the website. I do believe we got goldenjamboree.com now. There was some talk about that in our Slack. Yeah, so goldenjamboree.com. You can go over there. You can find out all the stuff, and Rob's back.
Yay! Yes, you can go over there and check out all the stuff. Thank you so much, Patrick, for that commercial interruption about Golden Jamboree. Check it out at goldenjamboree.com. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a cheap ticket to buy, and you can stream the whole thing for 2 days, and you can watch it, for like 30, 45 days afterwards. So it's a pretty good deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it is awesome. So the topic for tonight, and again, thank you guys for joining us. We really appreciate you coming with us every Sunday night on this journey. If you haven't already, please make sure to give us a thumbs up. It really makes Patrick feel good. And so this was an interesting conversation that I was having with somebody where I was talking about the things that go away and why. So we have so many things that have gone away, and sometimes it may be something that is, because of COVID. Like there are, some reason because of COVID that things just couldn't be the way that they were, and maybe those things come back. Sometimes it can be because there's a cash flow issue, right? And so either because it was a purposeful decision not to spend the cash, or it was a challenge to spend the cash, or it wasn't efficient to spend the cash, but it's a cash flow problem. And the last one is a culture shift, and I don't mean that. Sorry, time's up. It's been a great show, guys. No. So the cultural shift part that I mean is not just like Splash Mountain turning into Mount New Orleans, but it's really more along the lines of things like phone booths. Kids look it up. There isn't really a thing of a phone booth anymore because we don't really need them because we have cell phones, and that's really kind of that culture shift that we've done. You go onto Main Street, and I dare you to find a roll of film. Again, kids look it up. You used to be able to go into the camera store and buy film when you would go in there.
Right outside of Spaceship Earth. Oh, right. Man, I remember that from my first trip.
Yep. And so that's, do they still call it the camera shop? I feel like they do, or they did at least until the renovations. But,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really weird because you go in cameras. What kind of phone? What do I need a camera for? You're crazy. Do I need an SD card? Is that what you're selling? So there are a lot of things because of culture shift that have happened, or as we're going to call it a culture change. And so what we're going to do with the panel tonight, and you guys do not know the topics, but you've all written out on a piece of paper, which, I mean, come on, Patrick, you've had them with you all night. You don't have them ready to go? So what I asked you to do is write out, no, that's not, that's the wrong C. No, we're doing COVID, cash flow, and culture change, not Chapek. There we go. So I had them all write that out. So what I want to do is list some things that we don't have anymore, or we don't have right now, and we will have you all hold up why you think that those things are gone. And then I may call on you to defend your answer. We good? Any questions? I don't want this to be vague like some March Madness rules. I want it to be very specific. Now, here's the thing, too. What did I say? I'm just kidding. So the thing about this too is that it might be more than one, right? So there are some things that could be more than one. So the first thing that I'm going to bring up is daily room cleaning. So the thing about daily room cleaning, it's a twofer. Oh, and Patrick just says COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
So why do you, Patrick, let me go to you then. Why do you think just COVID?
I think it's just COVID because I think more people would be complaining about it if this wasn't the time that we're living in. I think cash flow is a benefit, but I think it's because of COVID, because I think people would definitely be complaining if we didn't want more people in our space.
Okay. And again, you guys should play along in the chat because I want to know, or we want to watch and see what you guys think too. Here's the thing though that makes it different. And actually, let's go around. Stephanie, why do you think it's both?
Well, COVID, I think they use it as an excuse for pretty much everything. But the cash flow, I think, really comes from the fact that they are increasing their bonuses for the people, the employees, and doing hiring fairs and things like this for the housekeeping. So they're in need for people to come and work there.
Okay. Emma?
Yeah, I think it was a COVID thing at first, and now, I mean, I stayed at a Good Neighbor hotel and they cleaned my room every single day, even when they said it was going to be every other. So, I mean, if they're doing it at a Good Neighbor hotel that Disney is not funding, again, COVID is the excuse, but they clearly have the cash to do it. But I think also, and again, this isn't one of the reasons, but you made a good point, Stephanie, about staffing. I think it could also be that they just don't have enough cast members to still do that every single day. So, not necessarily cash flow, because clearly they're giving these hiring bonuses, but staffing. But yeah, cash flow could also be part of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've just joined us, we were playing COVID, cash flow, or culture change.
Yes.
Yes. We want to make sure that everybody knows what we're doing, and we're very excited about it.
I don't like this.
No, it's really it's not. Oh, what is this? What is this? Boat. You're
It's not March Madness. Enough with the boats.
So, all right. So here's why I think that it may be both, and I think that you guys make great points about the fact that it was COVID that made it easy for them to transition. I mean, the first time I went back to a DVC room in June before the parks were even open, and when I pulled up to I've told this story before. When I pulled up to the guard gate, the guard stopped and he said, "So why are you here?" Exactly. you know the parks are closed, right? And he goes, "No judgment. I'm just really curious." And it was opening day of DVC, and he's like, "Why are you here?" And I was like, I need to get back to something Disney, man. And we have points. So, that's why it was one of those things where I was like, this is something I want to get back to. But it was weird. And when you would go into the room, they had and they still do this, I guess, the remotes in the bags. And everything felt very toxic, like you didn't want to touch anything. And so I sort of do get, the COVID side of we want to leave you alone. But I also get COVID means cleaning. And, so that feels like that should be the case. So the reason I would say that it leans more toward, oh my gosh, WDW Mickey, $2 money for boats. Boats. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
So the reason I think it's also probably more so a cash flow thing is because we were bribed at one point with a gift card to say, hey, do you really need your room cleaned while you're here? Wouldn't you like this $50 gift card instead? And I was like, yes, I would. So, I mean, I do think it may have been $25. I may be blowing this way out of proportion. But in my head, it was $50 because that was great. That's what makes me think that it goes back to money, is that they didn't want to have to pay for as many people to clean. They were like, wow, cleaning this stuff every day is really hard work. We should stop doing this. So that's okay. All right, so you ready for the next one? So in the same vein of rooms, while we're talking about rooms, shampoo bottles, shampoo and conditioner and whatever else, they used to be in every room across grounds. Now you have this like these bottles that are locked up on the wall. Oh, okay. We got a couple different answers here. So because you're the different answer down there, Stephanie, what do you think cash flow?
I think they're just being cheap. To be honest with you, we stayed at the Riviera Resort right after it opened. I'm talking like a couple of weeks after it opened, and they had the shampoo bottles. This is a deluxe resort. In the shower, we stayed in a 1-bedroom, and then they had a separate tub that the kids could use, and they didn't have anything there. They didn't have the little ones. So how am I going to get the shampoo from the shower? I run it across the bathroom to wash the kids' hair in the bathtub. So I just think they're being cheap.
Okay, all right. Patrick, why do you think?
I'm actually going to give a shout out to Colleen Kidder in the chat, and she brought this up for the previous one, is that people are becoming more environmentally conscious, and I think that's a lot of single-use plastic that's going in there. And again, I think that cash flow is always an added benefit, but I think trying to be more culturally aware of the moment and being this giant corporation that should probably be doing more to cut down their single-use plastic.
Yep. All right, Emma?
Yeah, I 100% agree. And after seeing some photos recently of these literal plastic bottle islands that are in the ocean, and just how much plastic is in the water just makes me sick. So, yeah, I'm glad that Disney is actually doing this. I think they're doing every bit that they can to get rid of their single-use plastics and single-use waste.
Here's why I disagree with that point. I don't disagree with the part that it is necessary. Here's why I disagree that's why Disney's doing it, and I agree with Stephanie on cash flow, is because, A, they stopped first in the cheap resorts. That's the first thing, right? You're paying more money in those deluxe resorts. We're gonna treat you nicer. I had my sister tell me before she stayed in like a Coronado and then like a deluxe and like in the same trip, and was like the towels even just feel a little bit better in the nicer ones. So that's one reason. Otherwise, they would have done it across the board. The second reason, and again, please believe us, we all love Disney here. I'm not coming at Disney in any way, shape, or form because we enjoy the magic. I drink the Kool-Aid, all of these things. However, when they stopped doing plastic straws and plastic bags, they threw themselves a parade. There was never...
Yes.
Right? I mean, there was like press releases and look at us and environmentality and all this stuff, and they didn't do that about these bottles. I think this was something they were trying to do on the down low because cash flow. That's, again, that's me. We all get to have our opinions, but I think, not to say that it's not a great idea for the environment not to have that stuff. And, honestly, it's more convenient to me because, like, sometimes you have the little bottle and you're in the shower and you're like, where do I put this? Because there's not a soap dish in here, and you just like, I'll just drop it drop it in the tub and figure it out later. Whereas the stuff on the wall is very convenient and it's right there. So, I don't know. I still feel like it's a cash flow thing, or they wouldn't have started in the cheap seats. Which, again, is where I stay. So, here's the next one. Are you ready? Security-free entry at Disney Springs. So there used to be security-free entry at Disney Springs, and now there's not. Is that what would be the cause for that? Is that a culture change? What are we thinking? All right, so everybody says culture change on that. So it's because we feel safer when that's there. Is that what you guys are thinking? Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, actually, sorry, to expand upon that, Jason was making a great point last week about how it's like kind of security theater. Like, it's great that there is security, but how well does it actually work? So, again, I think it could be done better, but I absolutely think it is, we're still in a post-9/11 world, and that's just what it is.
Aren't we always going to be in a post 9/11 world?
Nah, that's true. Never mind. Sorry. And I feel like it's still something that, even though it was 20 years ago, it's still very present, in our world with the continued troubles that we're having, as I'll put it. Anyway.
Okay. No, all good. So, here's one. Are you ready? Trams.
Sure.
Trams. We have no trams. I went to Dollywood 2 weeks ago. Dollywood has trams. Why don't we have trams at Disney World? Wait a minute. Wait. cash flow and cash flow and cash flow. Everybody thinks it's cash flow here. And what's the other thing? No what? No security.
No, seriously.
All right, Patrick, do you expand upon that, please?
I feel that it is constant mismanagement at the top of this company right now. You can see it with the infighting that's going on. You can see it with the fact that they're going to lose their most talented directors and one of the stars of their big film series because it is complete mismanagement at the top. If anybody could get through to that knucklehead and make him realize that cash flow is not the most important thing, that these trams probably cost $30 a day to run, and it's so much more about guest experience. They have really lost track of the keys that this company was built around.
Yeah.
So,
and I agree.
let me just jump in and say, in the chat, people are saying cash flow too, but if they stopped it during COVID, and but you still get in other things, right? You still get in closed buses and enclosed. Like, it's not helping COVID, right? But it feels like COVID's the reason that they're giving, right? I'm sorry, Emma, go ahead.
Which is a BS excuse, because one, it's open air, and two, they can just distance like they did on all their other transportation. There's no reason that had to stop during COVID. It is completely cash flow, and honestly, it makes me kind of upset because my parents are getting older and can't walk if that far if they're God knows how far away in the parking lot, especially at some place like Animal Kingdom or even the further parts of studios. Like, they need that for accessibility. And other people need it for that too.
Do you remember there was a story we ran on WDWNT.com, check it out, a long time ago about like little self-driving cars? Do you remember that? That they were testing the idea of these little self-driving tram things that would be out in the parking lot. Okay, cool.
I remember that.
Maybe I'm making it up. Maybe it's a fever dream. I don't know. It's been a long day. So, but I do think, though, again, to the point of the fact that I was at Dollywood and Dollywood was using trams, it feels like trams are a thing they could do. You know, at Universal, they have a very efficient parking deck system, so you don't really need a tram in that particular case. But these, and we've joked about it on News Tonight with the 5K, the tramless parking lot 5K, is that it's just such a pain because you get to the end of the night and you're just exhausted, and God forbid you have little kids that you have to carry out because you have to leave, and or parents that need help too, because you have to leave the strollers and everything there if you rented them, and then you have to carry them out, and you have to now walk all that way. I mean, that seems cruel, and I did see people say in the chat that well, you can't get employees. They can reroute those resources. If that's the problem, don't open some shop today and reroute your resources. I really feel like that's not the problem, and I do agree with you. It's probably cash flow, but also I do think that they're using COVID as the excuse for why they're not up and running. So that's just my thing. You ready for the next one? Mm-hmm. I think this is pretty easy. Interventions. Why did interventions go away?
I wish I had a Chapek card.
Because they're trying to destroy Epcot. Can I have that one?
Oh, that's true.
I guess.
I would say culture change probably, but I want to hear, Stephanie, you were the first one to pop up. Why do you think culture change first?
I just think that Interventions was all about the next technology, and we have technology at our fingertips now. It's at every corner store. I don't think anybody's really excited about it as much. Maybe they could have had a different idea for Interventions, but instead they just totally demolished it. So I think that's why. Yeah,
I would say so. But I think, personally, I think cash flow, because all of those things were sponsored. And,
that's true.
And when they had sponsors, they could get new things and new technology, like the Sum of All Fears and things like that. Or the Sum of All Thrills? Is that what it was? Sum of All Thrills?
You got it. Sum of All Thrills.
Yeah, and by the way...
The only Kuka arm that they were allowed to have.
Yeah, the Habit Heroes. Anybody remember that one?
Oh, yeah.
Where they got slammed for that one because, like, the heavy guy was the bad guy. Like, I don't know. It was not good. So, but those were fun things to do. And so in a post-COVID world, a lot of that was hands-on stuff, picking up the flashlights to play Where's the Fire or touching the screens and all that kind of stuff. So that probably would have been a nightmare, which may be the reason we don't have the Play Pavilion yet. It feels like it should be ready to go because they redid the roof like 3 times. And so I feel like it should be ready to go, but it's not, and there's no announcement for it. You know, a lot of other things have announced dates or 2022 or whenever they're coming, but not the Play Pavilion. So I assume COVID would have been a definite excuse, but we already knew that Interventions was leaving. But I do think cash flow, lack of sponsors, had a lot to do with it.
Just to jump in real fast on that, I think culture change, because let's look at Creation Shop and kind of what's going on there as it's getting more open. I feel like tearing down Interventions, the space, it actually creates a much nicer entranceway. And you want to talk about feng shui and the way things are changing, that people kind of want to just move through. And I don't think Interventions at most was a cut through for a lot of people. And I think that it serves the park better to be open.
Okay. I miss a lot of the stuff from there. And again, it could just be nostalgia because I know that we all get into nostalgia, a lot of it, but I do think there was a lot more interactive stuff for kids to do that they didn't get tired of. They always looked forward to to those things. And then even using it as a big meet and greet pavilion was kind of cool with the Baymax Big Hero 6 set and the Inside Out set. Those were kind of cool too. But maybe the next thing will be cool. We don't know what they're doing with that plot of land that was supposed to be the festival center. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. You ready for the next one?
Sure.
Front desk check-in. They encourage you not to check in at the front desk. Is that cash flow? Is that culture change? Or COVID? I like that you've written excuse at the bottom of your stuff. COVID excuse. So COVID,
Exactly.
COVID. The different one is, Emma, you're saying both. What's up?
Yes. So I think culture change, number one, just because Disney's really making that big push towards, everything being in My Disney Experience, which will then become Disney Genie and Genie Plus and all that whole big rollout that's coming very soon. So I think it's just that. And also I think, at least how I've been doing Disney recently, is just dropping off my bags and going to the park. So actually having that mobile check-in is nice. It's just kind of one less step, one less line to wait in. But then cash flow as well, because then that means that you don't need as many cast members up there. Now, that being said, those cast members are still needed because there are so many problems with the mobile key to get into your room. I can't tell you how many times I've had room key issues recently, especially on my last trip. So, yeah, the cash flow is a reason, but that they're still not saving any money because they need those cast members to fix those problems. So,
Okay, I'm only going to do 4 more because I have a whole bunch on here, but we're running out of time. So hopefully if everybody enjoys doing this, we'll bring it back at some point because it seems like it's going to be relevant for a time to come. The next one is Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, the card game that was in the parks. What do we think the reason is? Is it COVID? The cash flow? I'm seeing a lot of cash flow, and I'm seeing Chapek. All right, let's go to the Chapek fan in the upper corner.
What money is that costing? It had to have cost more money to take it out than it did to just leave it in operations. Plus, there was a million features that we heard about for years that were never turned on. It was a great thing for people who like to collect stuff like me.
Yes.
Knocked a tree leg over. And it was something new for people to do that is, I guess maybe it took time out of you being in a store or in a restaurant, so ultimately it's cash flow. But it's just so upsetting. It was so cute. It just was something silly to do, and I loved all my party cards.
Oh my gosh, the party cards! Literally.
My party cards.
Here's the sad part, and we were just talking about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I would almost be tempted every year to go just to get that card. It was literally the first thing I did when I would walk in.
Or I'd have to buy it in our auction.
It was always the longest lines, those party cards. And I feel like they missed an opportunity to monetize it. Come on, Chapek, you could sell certain cards like you do certain, edition pins, limited edition pins. Sell those cards. Well, and why didn't they, we had people that would stand there with multiple stacks of those cards and just hand out certain ones and trade my children for them as we were walking up to the to the portals there, So people were really into that game. I don't know why they didn't make it bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blast, and like they were already selling the cards. They had I can't remember, was it like 10 or something of them that you could only get in that bonus pack that you would buy.
Yeah.
I again, somebody correct me in chat if I'm wrong about that number. But anyway, they already had those cards that you could buy, so they were clearly making some kind of money off of it. And yeah, exactly. Like, what was it costing them to run every single day? What was it like? Ridiculous. Can't stand it.
Yeah, so I loved that game too, but Stephanie, I've definitely was thrown off the first time some stranger approached me, and it was like a little kid sitting on a bench. Remember when there were 2 stations? There was one at the fire station, and there was one back in Liberty Square. And the Liberty Square, there was a bench next to it, and there was a kid sitting there with a big binder, and it's like he was like, "Hey, can I see which cards you got, and I'll trade you?" And it's just like,
aw.
Really? This is weird.
Sports cards and like Pokemon cards are so huge right now. They literally got out of the market when the market took off.
And they had it set up so perfectly, too, where they could say, look, you get a pack of cards per day that you're in the Magic Kingdom, and that's it. And they could keep track of it, and all of that was cool. And they were able to even phase out the key card because they could use your Magic Band instead. And, so it was just the pack of cards. And you're right, how much, like, if you mass produce that, does that really cost? And, to your point, they were selling them and the binders and other things, and they could sell upgrades. And again, Patrick, great point. The fact that Pokemon cards continue to be a huge driver. In the stores, they have huge sections in Target and Walmart of places to buy more cards. They should have. The party cards were amazingly popular. And again, to me, a huge draw for those parties because I literally considered every time for the Christmas party and the Halloween party, should I go so I could just get that card? The Orange Bird card, I had to have.
I don't even know where my cards are. I gotta find those.
Yeah, so I mean, those things were really cool. And Patrick, I had that same question about why you flicked the lights off. I had the same question about, wasn't it more expensive to remove all the medallions from the ground, all the video cameras that were there to watch for the movements, and it didn't seem like it was broken down all the time. So I don't know that maintenance was a huge issue for that. So it just seems like they could have maybe invigorated that program by maybe putting new cards out or
50th anniversary cards
or repositioning
a new villain for the 50th.
Yeah, repositioning where any of that stuff was located. Maybe if the station in Liberty Square wasn't good enough, you could have done another station somewhere else, and they never put that in Tomorrowland, and you could have expanded it there. It does seem like there were a lot of opportunities that were missed there, but COVID doesn't seem like it was one of them, and it was a people eater, and that's the problem we have right now is that there are certain attractions that are open. There's not many entertainment offerings that are open to distract people. When you want to go eat somewhere, you don't go inside and stand in line. You stand outside in the waiting for your mobile order to be called. So it just seems more crowded than ever, even though there's supposed to be a capacity cap on people. So I don't know. I'm sad that one went, and it doesn't seem like there was a good reason. If it was a cultural shift where just kids didn't care anymore, I get it. But cards are still a huge thing, so I don't know why that was the thing either. So, and cash flow doesn't seem to make sense either because, again, they had to pay to remove all that stuff. I'm off of that one. We're on to the next one. You ready?
Yep.
Park passes. Park reservations. Is that a COVID thing? Is it a cash flow thing? COVID and cash flow. So again, we're all on the same page. That's not something the culture has determined is necessary. Patrick, what are your thoughts?
How many people probably walk up to the Magic Kingdom and get turned away because they don't have reservations? We've known forever and a day that people don't know how to plan for their Disney trips. People just have this idea of what Walt Disney World is. It's a touchstone moment. You're supposed to go there with your kids at one point in time and don't do the research, don't know, and have a miserable time. So the reason for this is because they want to manage staffing. They want to make sure that they have stores and restaurants open in the areas where there's going to be the most people. And they are trying, although what Rob is saying is true, I see the crowds, that they're trying to balance crowd capacity with COVID. I don't think COVID is actually an excuse, but I'm hoping if we turn the corner from Delta, eventually that park reservations go away.
Patrick, you son of a bee, the chat's using a 4th C now. They're using it. They're using the Chapek.
I'm telling you, you just got to put it in there.
But here's the thing. Here's why I left it out, though, because I do think that's tied into cash flow. I do think that's the thing. Is it's like I said at the beginning, cash flow could be either they don't have the money, or they don't want to spend the money, or they want to save the money, and I feel like that starts at the top. So I do feel like I'm kind of saying that when I say that, but you know, again, you got four going. So there you go. Anyway, it's like the secret menu. You can throw that one out whenever you want to. I'm sorry, I didn't give you guys a chance to say anything on that one, Stephanie.
I agree with Patrick, but I do think it started out as being COVID initially. They wanted to limit the amount of people in the parks, but Universal, even though there were only 2 parks there, they were able to be fully opened without having to do the park pass reservation system. I think Disney just really likes it. And the last thing I would say is it's more of an excuse now to say COVID, because they keep adding park passes for the 50th. So really, is there a cap? Really, is there? I'm not sure.
Emma?
Yeah, it's cash flow. I can tell you from going on Halloween to the Magic Kingdom last year that it is cash flow. Because let me tell you, that was when I thought when I was feeling more anxious about COVID, I should say, at that point. I mean, a little more now, so with Delta and all those things. But anyway, even with COVID numbers being what they were last year, the crowds were there. And honestly, I'm like, there's no way that the Park Pass reservation system then was being used for COVID to actually limit capacity. Like it's literally just for staffing and to control cash flow and money. That's it.
Yeah, I've heard that it's to control where people are going and to staff properly, but you can make a reservation change morning of. So I'm not really sure. And then you can also park hop. So while I've heard that too from somebody, I also think that it is you all know who. I feel like that's not necessarily the reason for it, but it is, to me, one of the most frustrating things. And the fact that both the Magic Key and the new annual pass program both include a certain amount of passes says it's not going away anytime soon. So it's just, and which means that if they've baked it in, COVID is no longer the reason, because we all like to think that at some point we'll be past, you know, the pandemic part of COVID, and that, you know, are they going to release us from annual pass, you know, prison? Probably not. I mean, no. It really is a tough thing to do. So I've got 2 more bombshell ones, and so I'm trying to figure out which one to drop here that could be just to end the show on a high note. Anyway, but I'm going to go ahead and throw this one out because I feel like this one could start the most conversation. Entertainment. Cash flow Chapek.
Chapek, yes.
Here comes the folder. Nope. Culture. Patrick, you want to expand upon that one? You want to tell us a little bit about your?
All right. I can do this, and I can do it quickly. Disney is marketing itself to a different group of people. It's not the family that comes and meanders and sits and watch entertainment and enjoy. It's these people who are living a much faster lifestyle. Bing, bang, boom. They're, up in club level. They're getting things done quick. They're not sitting there and taking in a show. These are the people who are taking VIP tours. They're going through everything. Boom, 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 boom. And so the culture shift of Disney valuing that dollar more than the average, person, that's the switch. And of course, it goes back to cash flow. But I think it's more of what whale Disney is hunting.
Well, and before we get to you guys, I'm seeing in the chat people saying, I think Adam said cash flow and Chapek, and we miss the citizens of Main Street. So while those are neat things, the Streetmosphere characters, I would agree with you almost on that one, that from a culture change standpoint, like, my kids don't care about that. I think it's neat. I think it's one of the things that Disney does that other people don't do. And I think it's neat that they do it. So it's really Leaf. I'm gonna have to get to this one with him because he's dropped a super chat 2 weeks in a row now about food. So this one is panel. What are your thoughts on Pizza Hut? So they're making it great. That's my thought. But let's go back to this. Is that and nobody out pizzas the Hut. The fact that they have that, those folks drawing a crowd out of nowhere, that's the kind of thing Disney was always known for. It's just spontaneous entertainment. Here comes a band I didn't know was coming, or there are the Dapper Dans over there singing a song, or something like that just comes out of nowhere and just brightens up your day. And we saw that at Disneyland this weekend, as they just had a parade come down and they were playing songs and they had the characters there, and it was probably a cavalcade, but it just seemingly came out of nowhere, and it was just like, oh, this is really cool. Okay. So I like that stuff, but I don't disagree about the culture change part, because I'm not sure if that's for everybody, especially the group that wants to go do the thrill rides. But let's hold off on Emma, because I feel like she's going to have a lot to say. Let's go to Stephanie on this one.
I agree with Patrick, but to an extent, because if Disneyland didn't have all the new characters and all the rare characters coming and the holiday parties, then I would say yes, it's probably because of that. But they have so much more entertainment than Disney World does. So I'm looking at you, Jeff Vale. I mean, let's bring them out for the Boo Bash. Let's put them on top of the train station. There's really not an excuse for that apart from just being cheap.
Well, and again, when we talked about Oogie Boogie, the fact that there were so many characters, and that all goes into it too. So many characters everywhere that they put out, and it really made the place feel more just like energy. There was more energy in it. Yeah, exactly. Go.
Okay, Cooley rant time. Y'all have been waiting for it, and I've told you that it's coming. Here it is. So, here's the thing about entertainment. It is coming back in other parts of the country. I am in an outdoor theater right now doing a show. Well, obviously not right now, but I mean, I just opened a show in an outdoor space. Disney has plenty of outdoor spaces, and they had lots of outdoor entertainment before. For instance, you could do all the Streetmosphere, but have it distanced. You can have things on the castle stage. You could roll out, maybe repaint them so that way they're not Star Wars themed or whatever you have to do, but roll out those stages that they had for that Star Wars show in Hollywood Studios and use it for something. Like, and about the entertainment, like, honestly, whether you notice it and you stop to take it in or not, it adds an energy and adds the magic to the park when you walk in, whether you stop to take it in or you're passing by and you see it for 2 seconds. Unfortunately, I think it is something that a lot of people, take for granted, and that, they miss it after it's gone, which could be why maybe it seemed like a lot of people weren't interested in that kind of thing being in the parks anymore. But it's a vital thing. It allows people to forget their own lives for a second and brings that energy, that connection, that human connection that we were missing so much in the pandemic. That's honestly what live entertainment does, and that's why I love doing it so much. And we need it. We need it in the parks. That's the thing. That's where they're going cheap. They need that extra touch that nobody else does, which I believe is their live entertainment. And I'm sick of it not being in the parks anymore. I am sick of it.
Hear, hear.
Yeah, and other than Harry Potter properties, I don't know that there's much or enough of it in Universal either, because that's what makes Universal. Well, I mean, but like there's that huge arena that they've left open for ever, over by Toon Lagoon, and there's a bunch of different things that they could be doing too. Again, referencing Dollywood. They still have shows and they put on outdoor stuff, and they literally have a woman who's like a Streetmosphere character. They're like, oh, go visit the chicken lady, and it's like, okay, that sounds fun. We'll do that. There's a lot of that stuff that I'm sure was taken from Disney's playbook, and is no longer there. So again, there is some entertainment coming back. It's good to see Beauty and the Beast came back, that stage show came back, and there's other things, but like we still don't know where. We're still trying to find Nemo. That's still the thing that they haven't put out there yet. Whether the Streetmosphere characters come back or not, we don't know. It's just it is one of those things that made Disney very magical for all of us here, and so that's why the questions of is it a cash flow, is it a cultural change, or is it COVID, and how has that affected so many of the things that we love? Because I feel like it's draining to try to be positive anymore with the price hikes and the revamped programs that all seem to be in their favor and not in the favor of the guest. And
right.
so,
yeah. Sorry, to add one more point that I forgot. So everything's been worked out with the unions. Protocol's been put in place. Broadway's back reopen. Requiring vaccination, weekly PCR tests, all those things. Those are all put in place. So it's not like the performers, that side of it hasn't been worked out at all. So COVID is not an excuse there either, honestly. And again, being outdoors, it's safer than doing things inside. And most of Disney's entertainment is outdoors. I mean, Finding Nemo the musical is inside, but come on, Disney. There's no excuse.
Okay, so I have a whole another list of this that I'll probably pull on a panel at a later time, assuming everybody felt like this was a good idea. Because I do think, again,
yes.
there are a lot of these things that we've been told from others, this is why. But I do think that when we get into the conversations and we see that maybe there are other reasons for it, there's a lot of stuff that is cultural change that happens, like Snow White and, being changed from Snow White's Scary Adventures to The Enchanted Wish. I think that was a positive thing. They're not all negative. So there are some good things that are out there. But we'll continue to try to take on the pressing issues of the Disney community as much as possible, and then there's also that. So I would like to say that this program, along with many others, brought to you by our official travel agent sponsor, The Vacationeer, the engineers of your next magical vacation. Sit back and let them and their team of vacation planning experts craft your family's next magical Disney trip. And the best part is their services are free: hotels, park tickets, and much more. Visit wdwnt.travel for details. The Vacationeer is the official travel agency of WDWNT. Also, the official Patreon program of WDWNT is our WIGS members. And we love the WIGS. Thank you guys so much for being WIGS members. If you want to find out more about it, you can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. There is actually a post show from this show right here. I know it's exciting. It's hard to believe. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Pizza may come up later. We may talk about that offline. I want to say thanks to everybody who's been watching. If you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up. It really helps people to find the show, and we really enjoy talking with you guys every Sunday night on ParksCenter, 8 p.m. Eastern. We will see you here. If you are a WIGS member, we will see you in the post show. Thank you all for being on the panel, and we will see you guys next time. And I think it's important that everybody has to sing their way out of this one, because I feel like, Patrick, people have not been singing their way out of this one. So have a great night, guys. There it is. Ah, that's the magic. That's the stuff.